Hey guys, welcome to the Firearms and Fellowship podcast. We are having Friday Firearms Chat, and I've got Nibs from Walnut and Steel and George McAllister from the Remington Society of America. Boys, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing good.
Doing excellent. I'm
Outstanding.
inside where there's no snow.
Yeah, Nibs, you just got a couple feet?
Yeah, about 2 foot.
Well, I'm down here in Louisiana, and I can promise you there's no snow here.
We got some coming next week.
You can have it.
Yeah, I know it. So
They did get a little bit of snow down in Louisiana there like a week or so ago, didn't you?
We did. It blew everybody's mind. It snowed pretty good, but fortunately for my wife and I, we had left the day before to go to Vegas for the gun show, so we were not here when it snowed, and it was all gone by the time we got home. And so
Yeah.
you lucked out.
Not bad at all. She was kind of regretful. It didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, there's 2 YouTube channels I watch, Jeff Barron and Hannah Barron.
Yeah.
And they both had videos up on their channel about all the snow. It was like 3 inches of snow at Hannah's house there. She was pretty freaked out about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably freaking out.
It's an event for us.
George, we just got back from Vegas. A couple weeks ago, we were out there with Remington Society of America for the Las Vegas Antiques Arms Show. That's just a wonderful show. Great displays. And as a matter of fact, George came home with an award for his display. George, why don't you tell the folks what your display is and just kind of describe it a little bit, because you won Best in Show, correct?
I won first runner-up Best in Show, and we're really thrilled to death to do that. That's pretty gratifying. It was a one-gun display. It's a 2-gun display actually, but the primary gun is an 1875 Remington single action that was issued to the Pine Ridge Indian Police in 1883. It's the pistol, it's a belt, it's a holster, it's an original Indian Police badge, and that's a picture of the display. That's a Remington Keen USID Indian Police Remington Keen rifle in that display too. So on the pistol, there's only 10 of those pistols that we know of still in existence, and there were only 50 of them originally that are positively identified as being an Indian Police gun. So it's a gun I chased for about 15 years, and I'm just really happy to have it, and people enjoy seeing it, and I enjoy showing it to folks, and it's kind of pinnacle of my collection. It's a really rare and a good gun, real part of the American West.
Now, I meant to ask you when we were out there, and there is a video of George showing his display on my channel if you guys are interested to get a closer look at some of that. But can you talk a little bit more about that rifle? Because I had meant to ask you about that when we were there, and I didn't.
Yeah, it's a Remington Keen, Keene. That would be Remington's first bolt action rifle. It's in 4570. It's kind of unique. You work the bolt and it loads it, but it doesn't cock it. You have to manually cock it. It's got a magazine cutoff on it. It's USID marked where they issued them to the Indian Police, and they're pretty cool guns. They had a kind of unique thing about them. They told them when they issued those guns not to load them with pointed ammunition, or that's what I've read. And some of them did get loaded with pointed nose ammunition and fired in the magazine and took off some hands or some fingers. So gun kind of got a bad rep, but it was from being misused. But it's Remington's first bolt action rifle. They made them in a couple of different barrel lengths. They made them in a carbine. The Navy bought a few, I think. But they're still out there, but they're pretty neat guns. So that one is USID marked, and it's been rode hard and put up wet. The stock's cracked and several places been repaired. And the USID mark on it, somebody obliterated it. It's hard to read the mark, and I suspect that happened as somebody was stealing that gun or appropriating it and didn't want any marks left on it. So, but I think that just all adds to it. It doesn't bother me all that it's like that.
Can you talk a little bit about the markings on that pistol? I know that there's some confusion out there about markings on those pistols. So if you could elaborate a little bit on that, that would be great.
In 1883, the government bought 600 some odd 1875 Remington 7.5-inch nickel-plated single actions 4440s, and issued them to the various Indian police departments across the West. How many guns an Indian police department got depended on how many officers they had. Pine Ridge had 50 officers, so they got 50 pistols. The interesting thing about them is that there are no records of the serial numbers on those guns. So you can't look at a 75 Remington and definitively say it's an Indian police gun or not, except for the 50 that went to Pine Ridge. The Indian agent at Pine Ridge was a guy named Valentine McGillicuddy, good Indian name. And when he got his guns, he stamped them on the web beneath the barrel with the letters PR for Pine Ridge and an inventory number of 1 through 50. So my gun is PR 26. So that's the only way. If you find one of those guns, that's the only way to prove that it is an Indian police gun. It's got that Pine Ridge mark on it. It's interesting. I also have a web from an 1875 Remington, just the web, not the gun, that I acquired from a fella, and it's marked, and it's PR 25, so it's consecutive with my pistol. Why the web is not on a gun, I don't know. But it's neat to have it. It displays well with the pistol. But those are the marks. PR 26 is on the web of that gun.
Well, it's a really neat display, and like I say, there is a video of it from when we were in Vegas on my YouTube channel, Firearms and Fellowship. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
You can either do it here tonight or over on my channel, and I'll get that relayed to George. So Nibs,
yes, sir.
Kind of fill us in on what you've been up to here lately. It's been a few weeks since we've chatted, so I'm interested to hear what you've been into.
Well, kind of playing with my BB guns more than anything.
Yeah, staying in the garage.
Yeah. So I did pick up I forgot to send you a picture of it, but I did pick up a pretty cool Crosman pump-up gun from the early 80s. And it's called a Crosman Model 1. And
that's Nib's playground there for anybody that doesn't know. He's got a really neat channel, and if you're not a subscriber, definitely go over and subscribe to his channel, because a lot of 22s, a lot of air guns, and good content. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, buddy.
No, that's fine. So yeah, that Model 1 is, so they had a rifle that they put out for several years called the Model 2200 Magnum, which is a 22 caliber multi-pump. Came after the Model 1400. For some reason, they decided to put out one called the Model 1, which is almost exactly the same as the 2200 Magnum, except for it has wooden stocks instead of plastic stocks like the 2200 did. And I found one, actually it was on a Northeast Air Guns website, and got it for a really good price. I don't know if they just didn't know what they had, but ended up on my door for less than $100. So
nice. We were talking before the show. I didn't realize how far back air guns went.
Yeah.
You guys said they had Lewis and Clark had air guns.
Yeah.
So that's something that I need to dig into and read a little bit about.
So I don't know if you can put that picture that I had back up there. Is there any way you can zoom in on that at all? So actually up on the bench there anyway. So you see that sign, like the little Red Rider sign in the middle of
right here, yeah.
Yeah, so all of those up there on the bench there, the newest gun there was made in 1970, and the oldest gun there was made in 1883. So,
Wow.
and most of them are from like the 50s and back. Just
That's a incredible collection you have there.
all the ones over on the right there. Some of them are pretty old, but most of them are a lot newer than that. But 70s, 60s, and 70s, a lot of them.
Are these all air guns out here?
Those are all air guns. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
my firearms are locked away.
Yeah.
It's the law in New York. They got to be locked inside of a metal locker, lockable metal container. I think is what the law says.
Now, George, you deal in some air guns yourself.
We do warranty work for Benjamin Sheridan. So yeah, we repair a lot of air guns, a lot of old Benjamin pumps, some of the newer PCP guns, which have really gotten popular in the last few years, and they're great guns. But yeah, we fix a lot of old guns. People find them in garage sales or in barns or things of that nature, and they bring them to us, and they'll be full of mud, dirt, and cobwebs. And sometimes folks are kind of disappointed. They bring you one of those old guns and want you to rebuild it and redo it. And when you tell them what it's going to cost, they're kind of taken aback. They said, "Well, golly, this gun didn't cost but $25." Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
I think that's kind of the way it is generally with any kind of firearms. A lot of times, if you got to pay somebody to do it, it gets a little bit out of reach. If somebody wants to send you something to work on, how can they get a hold of y'all?
You can email me at I can put my email address up there, or you can call me. Either way, we about probably at least 50% of the guns we work on come to us in the mail. We repair them, tell people what it's going to cost, and ship them back. It's nice because you can still ship air guns, and without having to worry about an FFL. So
excellent.
Certain garages in the house.
Yeah, we got some people pouring in tonight. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
I saw right before we came on, Milsurp posted a new video. So put in the comments, Milsurp, what that was about, because I just glanced at it and I didn't get a chance to look too hard. But looking forward to seeing that. If you're not subscribed to Milsurp Garage, go over there and check out his channel. He does really good in-depth videos on firearms, so definitely worth checking out. One of the things we wanted to talk about tonight was books and reference materials. George, you'll remember while we were out at Vegas, I ran into the Beard and Knowledge, Mark Patton. You're not familiar with who he is. He's the guy that's on Pawn Stars, one of the experts that they bring in to look at things and help determine the value. Just a super, super nice guy, and he was very gracious. And I got to visit with him for, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes. One of the things we got to talking about was books and reference materials. I told him that while I was at the Vegas show, I was able to pick up the Remington 22 Rimfire Rifles book.
Oh, that's a great book.
It is. Unfortunately, it's out of print, and if you go to buy one on the used market, they're incredibly pricey. But I was able to source one. Actually, the co-author Roy Marco was at the show, and he had 2 copies, and sold me one of them. So very thankful to him for doing that.
So I don't know if they're still available anymore, but years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, there was a soft copy of that book available.
Yes,
And,
there was.
I
Unfortunately,
still have that.
they had to quit selling that because of it had something to do with people possibly getting a virus off of the thumb drive, or it had something to do with that. And there was other issues, but they did have to quit doing that. But when I was talking to Mark, I told him about that book. He said that one of the best things you can do is invest in reference material. He said, I don't walk around with all that knowledge just bouncing around in my head. He said, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of books that I use every day. But I did want to kind of share a couple books that I picked up that people would generally kind of say are the go-to on a particular rifle. And of course, the Remington 22 book is the Remington Rimfire book. Another one, if you're into Marlins, would be the Brophy book. I actually just got this in a couple days ago. I might have to send it back because it's got a bad spine on it, which this is a newer copy. So it might be better actually to go find a used one. Maybe the quality would be a little bit better. And
so
another,
Russ from Daisy Lever Gun Fun said the oldest existing air gun is circa 1580.
wow, that's incredible. Another
So
book I like to
Swedish
keep
Museum.
around is the Numerix parts book. They've got diagrams in there, and sometimes it's just easier to be able to pick up a book than search on the internet. And so that's another one that I like to keep around. I think you guys had a couple books that you wanted to kind of key people in on.
So here's a new subject for me is black powders. So Dixie Gun Works, kind of overwhelming, but one of my channel members sent me that, so I can start perusing through that. Starting to get to be a flint locker.
Yeah.
There's this. I'm an old guy that collects old guns. So having reference material is just, it's essential. If you're going to collect old guns, the first thing you buy is a book. And nothing beats sitting in your easy chair with a gun in one hand and a book in the other hand. You will understand what the gun is all about when you get through with that. But this is one of the best books out there. It's no longer in print, but you can find it. You can still find copies. It's Firearms Guide. The prices are, of course, out of date, but there is a wealth of knowledge in this book about just every antique American firearm. Flaterman's Guide to Antique American Firearms is a wonderful book to have in your library. It's almost essential if you're dealing with guns. Another one is the Winchester book.
Yeah.
This covers all the lever guns in depth. This is an encyclopedia. It's everything you ever want to know about a lever gun is in here. How many were made, the different features, sights, triggers, barrels, dimensions. This is it. You'll know more about your Winchester than you ever wanted to know.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things about having a reference book like that versus having to get online and search through forums is there's a lot of experts online, and they're not always right. At least when you've got a reference book, that it's been researched, and there's a higher likelihood of the information in that book being correct versus what you go and try to scour on the internet.
And if you get into kind of specialty collecting or and all that, you're going to have to have books. This is a good example right here on cold conversions. This book is also out of print, but you can find it. This book is a wealth of knowledge. This is everything you wanted to know about cold conversion revolvers, and that's a kind of narrow and a unique field, but it's a wonderful field. It's in the time frame between the end of the Civil War and the introduction of the 1873 cartridge revolvers. It's the conversions, and,
Wow.
and this book will teach you what you want to know.
We're getting some really good comments. I'll try to get them up. I might miss a couple, but there's some good suggestions in the comments too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch that too.
yeah.
Here's another book that kind of is a good.
Yeah.
It's got good reference, but it's also just a good read. And if you notice that and the name of my channel,
I have that one, and
so he has actually just recently put out a third volume, and I haven't.
I was going to say there's multiple volumes of that. I've got
I've got the second one over here as well. Bill just put out a third one, and I've been looking for that. I haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, those are good books because, like you say, they're good to read. They're enjoyable to read too.
They are. Another really good book, and it's been around, and everybody loves it. John Kopech's book on the cavalry Colts, cavalry and artillery Colts. Probably the most popular and collected pistols out there are the single action Colts. And this is a wealth of information. Tells you all about the Custer guns and that sort of thing. So
when we were in Vegas, one of the books I picked up was this Firearms Assembly NRA guidebook to shoulder arms. It's got, I don't know, probably 30 different rifles in here, maybe more than that. All of these. But what's nice about this one is it actually tells you how to disassemble them and assemble them. And
I got that one over there too. I was just looking.
Yeah, I want to find the other volumes of this because I really like this book, and excellent one to have out on the workbench.
You have a couple different ones there.
So yeah, that's just kind of touching on having some reference material. While I was looking through the Brophy book, the Marlin book today. Oh yeah, old gun sights. Yeah,
so there's this one, and then there's Old Gun Scopes, and it was made by what's this guy, Nick Strobel.
Yeah.
And he actually had a volume. He had another volume where they were put together too. So, but my scope book is out in the garage because I was using it to reference a few things the other day. So, but
yeah, those gun sight and gun scope books would be good to have around. You can. If you know what to look for, you can really find some good deals out there, and that's knowledge is king when it comes to that stuff.
Somebody told me one time, knowledge is twofold: knowing it or knowing where to find it.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's right. So I've been doing the job I do right now for 32 years. And when I hire a new guy, everybody gets pretty overwhelmed by, how much they don't know about the stuff we do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, it's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing who to call when you need to ask a question. And it's not always somebody who works at the company I work for either. It's, tech support for this and that and the other thing. So,
well, Pop was a glass man for, I don't know, his whole life, basically. And I used to work for him, and we'd show up and we'd do a job in like 5 minutes. And they'd be like, how does it cost this much? And you're only here 5 minutes. He said, well, you're not paying me for the work I did today. You're paying me for all the years I learned how to do it this quickly, and that's kind of the truth.
That's true.
Yeah, we have a service fee for 2-hour minimum. So
Yeah.
everybody, and usually I show up and, twist a potentiometer and fix the problem and walk away, and they get a bill later for 2 hours, and they're like, he wasn't here for 5 minutes.
Yep. We've got, let's see, J Delta 22 NC is in the chat. We're going to try to get him on the podcast one of these days, because he's the one that sent Chris Lang the rifle, and that's just a really neat story. And yeah, so we're going to get him in on the chat one of these days. So, but yeah. Going back,
one other book you asked me to show.
What's that? Oh yeah, the Mossberg. Yeah, Mossberg book.
Yeah. If you guys watch my channel at all, you know that I'm a avid Mossberg collector, and
got a few of them. I just
knowledge in there about a lot of the old guns and stuff, and it was written by the Havilands, which are still in business selling Mossberg parts. So.
All right, Millserp says textbook of firearms investigation, identification, and evidence.
Yeah, the Hatcher book. Yeah.
Hatcher.
If anybody knows about where to find information about guns, it would be him.
Yeah, he does some in-depth stuff on his channel. One of the things that I ran across while I was reading Brophy's book briefly today had to do with the Model 60. So the Model 60 started out as the Marlin 99. That's where that action came from. The 99 had a longer barrel, walnut stock, but they only made the 99 for 4 years. That was from 59 to 61. It was wildly popular, though. They sold 116,000 of them. At the same time, from 60 to 64, they came out with the DL. Now, they only made 5,279 of those. So if you come across a Marlin 99 DL, you got a chance of having something, because there wasn't many of them made. From 61 to 78, they made the 99C, and they sold over 100,000 of those. Now, like I said, that's the same action as the Model 60. The Model 60 didn't come out until 1960, but it came out as a Glenfield. The Marlin Model 60 didn't come out until 1983, and I had no idea that was the case. The Glenfield 60G was made from 60 to 65, and then the Glenfield 60 from 66 to 82. So, that's just one of the neat things that you can get from those kind of reference books. Like, now I know if I see a 99 DL, I'm going to look pretty hard at it, because it's a pretty rare gun. And I didn't know that the Marlin 60, which is one of the best selling rifles of all time, they've sold over 1 million of them now, was a Glenfield up until 1983.
Yeah, the two 60s that I have in my possession right now were both made in 1978, and they're both Glenfields.
Yeah. Glenfield was a good name. People a lot of times look at Glenfield as like it's an inferior brand, but a lot of times it was actually a little bit fancier than the Marlin. The Glenfields were sold through, like Sears and Kmart's and places like that, big box store type deals.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got Pest Hunter Outdoors. Love my Model 60. Man, there's guys that swear by them, and I don't think I've ever actually had a Model 60. Just the 99. I've got a 99 M1, which is the carbine version. It's got the wooden barrel shroud on it, just like an M1. That was a really popular rifle. And then the 99 M2, which was the clip fed version as well. Let me pull up Nibs. You sent over some pictures.
Just a
Get
couple.
those up here. Yeah, let's get into what do you got here?
Which one? I see a bunch of pictures. Oh, those are my Marlin 39As. So actually the shorter one's a 39D, which is a little carbine that they made just for a couple of years in like 71 to 75, I think.
Well, I've seen the 39M, the Mountie, which was a carbine length. I've never seen
Right.
the 39D.
I can't remember what the difference is. So I think the 39M would have had like just like a straight lever or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
it did.
exactly what the difference was. But
Didn't have the pistol
so
grip.
the one in the center there is actually pretty special though. So that one is so if you look at the receiver on it, it's actually color case hardened, which they only did. The 39A came out in 39, and they only did the color case hardening 39, 40, and 41, and then they discontinued making the 39 during World War II. And when they reestablished production after World War II, all the 39s were blued. So the one on the right-hand side is, I believe that one was made in 1966, if I remember right. And that one is a blued model. But that one in the middle there is so they got a letter on the front of the serial number, and that tells you what the year of manufacture is. And that one was made in 41.
Okay. Millsarp saying, yeah, but those buffers, he's talking about the buffers in the
On the 60s.
99s and the 60s. Yeah. Anytime I pick a 99 up, I go ahead and just order a buffer because it's going to need it.
So the two that I have, I've only, so the two that I have, and I wish I'd sent you pictures of them, but I forgot to. They were both in really rough shape. Well, at least they looked pretty bad. The first one, I actually did a pretty nice job of cleaning it up, and I've done a couple of videos on it already. The buffer was perfectly fine in it. I haven't taken the other one apart yet, but if it needs a buffer, that's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, they're good. They're good rifles. Of course, Marlin had the micro groove, which
Yeah.
I guess the early 99s didn't have the micro groove. Mine does. It's not labeled a 99C though, which is when they added the micro groove. So I don't know if I've got a Franken gun or, maybe it might have been a late 99 and got slapped on with a micro groove barrel. That's just one of those rabbit holes I'll have to go down one of these days.
So Greg Amato was asking about dating a Daisy Model 880. So Greg, it's not really a serial number; it's actually just a production code. So if you list that in the chat, I could probably tell you what year that was made.
Yep.
It's not really a serial number, so nobody's going to be able to send the police over to your house saying you stole their gun because of serial number.
Well, we deal with that a lot over at Remington Society. People want to know when their rifle was made. It's a barrel code. It's on the left side of the barrel, just in front of the receiver, and there's a black powder chart you can go by to determine what that is.
So Passionate Shooter asked me what I'm drinking. Do I sound like I'm drunk? It's just iced coffee. Almost gone too.
It's cold snack. Leave him alone. Let's see. Let me pull up another picture that you sent over. Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. So just start from top to bottom.
That's fine.
Looks like what do you got on top? Is that a 52 on top?
Nothing showing up yet.
I think your internet's dragging a little bit.
I don't know.
Or I didn't add it to the
Here it
stage.
comes. Here it comes. There it is. Oh yeah, that picture. That's good. So let's see. Top one is a Winchester 52C, which is actually a U.S. property marked with a Nerdle 2-inch ultra varmint on it. That's actually best I can come up with. That gun was probably a sniper trainer for the Marines. So that's a pretty cool. I was able to find a pretty good amount of information about that particular scope being delivered to the Marines with that gun, with that type of gun for training the snipers in 1961 is what that one was dated for. The one below that is an original Winchester 52 from March of 1920. So that's a pretty cool gun. What's the next one down? The next one down is a Remington Model 513T from 1952.
Man, I have my eyes on one in Vegas.
Yeah. Next one down is a Winchester 75. Really nice gun. So that one's a civilian model. I actually do have a U.S. property marked 75 as well, but it's not in this picture.
When you talk Winchester, you don't think bolt guns.
Well, they made a lot of really nice 22s.
Yeah.
I've shot that original 52 out to 100 yards, and it shoots really nice.
I've got the Moroku Repro.
Yeah.
Utah Centennial. I think they made 1,000 of those. I think total they made like 25,000 reproductions of the 52 out of Moroku. Excellent rifles though.
Yeah. What else do we have here? So the next one down is a Remington Model 37, which is really kind of Remington's big entry into the high-end target guns. And actually that one's a first year production 1937 production gun. What's that one? The next one down is another what is that? That's another Remington 513T, I believe. And then the one on the bottom is actually an H&R H&R model 416 with an Fecker.
I think Nibs froze up on us, but speaking of H&R, they made some really good rifles back in the day. I just got done taking apart a 700, which is a Eugene Rising design. And of course, he made the 65, the leather neck, and the Model 50 submachine gun. Really interesting fellow. If you go to reading about his past, he was kind of a wild card and a really good shot. But yeah, H&Rs, there's some good H&Rs out there that are worth.
If you really want to know a lot about the Rising fellow there, Millsap Garage did a really deep dive on his history, showing his Rising auto pistol, and I have one of those as well.
Yeah, he was by all accounts a really good pistol shot, and there's a good article. Man, I should have brought it in here. I didn't know we were going to be talking about it, but I'll try to remember. I'll put it down in the link when I post a video. There's a good article about Eugene Rising that kind of covers his whole past, sordid past, and all the guns that he designed. The 700 that I have actually came out after he had passed, but you can see the design is very similar to the Model 65. There's a lot of carryover. So yeah. Um, let me check the comments here. All right.
So one thing I had read about Rising was he actually worked for John Browning in the design of, what eventually led up to be the 1911 before he
Okay.
struck out on his own. So that was kind of neat about that history as well.
Yeah. When you get to reading about some of these designers, like I was talking about this the other day. The let's see, the Browning High Power. A lot of people think that the Browning High Power is a Browning design, and when they first started on the gun, it was. He was commissioned to make a pistol. I think it was for France, um, but there were so many iterations of it. He had passed away, and Dieudonné Sive took over that project, and the gun that eventually came out as a Browning High Power was a Saïve design, but he doesn't really get credit for it.
Is
People
recognize
think,
any of these parts?
what is it? It's too small on my screen. I can't tell.
No, it's a it's a CN Arsenal T-shirt, and it's basically all the 1911 parts, all in like you were breaking
Okay,
them off from a model.
that's another
flashing.
great channel, CNR Arsenal.
Yeah.
If you want to learn the history of some of these firearms, they do really deep, in-depth videos about those. Um, so one of the things that we had talked about this evening was refinishing and maintaining firearms, and kind of where's that line? Sometimes I'll have a rifle that I'm going to refinish, and boy, people clutch their pearls about it. Some people are on the side of leave it alone, don't touch it. And then there's the other side. Like sometimes I think a gun is maybe not collector value. Um, it's so far gone that I want to make it a nice rifle again. And there's also a discussion about patina, and what is patina, and what did armorers do back in the day when, say, a service rifle would be sent back to the armorer. Well, what would they do to it? So what are your thoughts on that, George? Why don't you start?
Well, we mess with a lot of antique guns, and you have to be careful.
Yeah.
I don't see anything at all wrong with cleaning up an antique gun, as long as you clean it right. Rust on an antique gun is not doing anything for you.
Mhm.
I like to see the rust gone. If you can get books and you have the right tools, I don't see a thing wrong with tearing one down, cleaning it up inside, lubing it up, and I don't see much wrong with replacing parts, springs, and things like that. There's no way to guarantee that the parts that are in the gun are original anyhow. They may have been replaced before. So
Yeah.
getting one back working I think is a good thing. Refinishing woods, there's pros and cons and lots of different thoughts about that. But I like the wood clean.
Hmm.
I like it clean.
Have you ever? I don't know if you can see that. Have you ever tried any of this stuff? Howard's Restore Finish.
Howard's Restore Finish. I have
I
not.
don't think I have. I don't think I have. I use a lot of Renaissance wax.
Yeah, man, that's
I have
great
that.
stuff.
So this Restore Finish has got like a solvent to it, but so far I haven't found a finish that it will damage, but it will clean off years and years of wax, and it has a little bit of tint to it, so it'll hide some scratches and stuff.
I think that's great. I think that's great.
And it just leaves behind once it dries up. It just leaves like a kind of like an oil type of finish or oil film behind. And I
great.
actually found that to clean up like an old rusty barrel or something,
Yeah.
I'll take that and dab piece of brass wool in this stuff and actually use that to clean up a rusty barrel.
Yeah.
And it won't scratch the bluing, and it'll take off all the pitting. And they sell it at Home Depot. I don't know if they sell it at Lowe's, but there's like 3 or 4 different shades. They have a golden oak, and which I use for most stuff. That's like almost a clear, and then they have a couple of darker ones and a reddish colored one. I don't remember the names of them, but like a mahogany.
We use a lot of breed wax.
Yeah,
that's a furniture refinishing wax, but it comes in lots of shades: ebony, clear, dark brown, light brown.
Yeah. This stuff was intended for cleaning up antiques and stuff. So
I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it does a really great job, and it doesn't affect the old finish, but it like kind of rejuvenates the finish, gives it a nice sheen. So
if there's any finish left on the wood, especially pistol grips or something like that, if there's any old varnish, I like to try to retain as much of that as I can on that wood. If you can do that, it still looks good. I like to retain that. I don't polish brass. Like a 73 Winchester, it's got a brass lifter in it or something like that. Don't polish that thing. Just let it have that patina on it, and that's hard to resist. It looks good when it's polished, but
for me, I've bought so many guns that look like they're laid on the bottom of a salt lake. They're so fuzzy, and just brass wool and some oil, brass wool, and this stuff here, and almost all of them come out and still have bluing left on them. In a lot of cases.
I like rim oil. I like rim oil and 4/0 steel wool.
Yeah, I try to stay away from steel wool because that will scratch bluing. Well, so I start out with the brass wool.
Yeah,
and if I can't get
nothing more coarse than 4/0,
You know what I like to get rust off of a barrel is oil and an old copper penny.
Absolutely.
I mean that'll you can work a rust spot. Once it gets to a certain point, you're gonna have a pit, but you
can do about it.
The old copper penny will get that rust off, and it won't damage your bluing. And another that a lot of people don't know about is a carding wheel. Carding wheel is probably one of the first things you should get in your shop if you're gonna mess around with old funky guns, because man, it can make quick work of a lot of that stuff, and it won't damage anything.
What kind of material is that made out of? Is that
it's actually steel, but it's so fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you could rub your tongue on it and it wouldn't hurt you.
Brownell sells them. They use them in gun bluing business, prepping guns for bluing and all, but it will take rust off and will not hurt the bluing. I got one that I'm running at about 1,800 RPM on a buffing wheel, and I can run my hand in it. I can stick my hand in it and run my hand in it. It won't hurt my hand. So it's just a soft wire wheel. Brownell sells them.
Carding wheel equals Mark Novak. Yeah, that's true. If you're gonna be messing around with guns, put Mark Novak in your channel list, because that guy, he's a wizard. He's really good. Yeah, I was actually, speaking of Mark Novak, I was watching him the other day. Picks up an old screw. He put that screw down in a holder and took his ball peen hammer and knocked that metal back into the groove, right? Yeah. And then took a file and straightened that slot back up, and then torched it and drew that blue back up into the head. Man, it looked brand new.
Yeah,
just incredible work. And that's just one of those things that you don't know until somebody shows you how to do it. And it's great that there's guys out there hearing that.
Another product I like that's been around for years and years and years, and a lot of people don't know about it, is RIG, R-I-G. That stands for Rust Inhibiting Grease. It doesn't have much lubricating value on it, but once I clean a gun down good, I will paint it down on the metal with Rig and let it soak overnight. It's got some sulfur in it and other thing. It seems to soak down in the metal. I'll wipe it back off the next day and then go ahead with my wax or whatever. It just long-term protection. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Been
Well,
around forever.
I see guys using the 30 weight non-detergent on theirs. So there's so many different things, especially when it comes down to, you know, trying to clean up a rifle. And I guess when I get something, that's the first thing I look at. I look at it and I think, okay, first thing I'm gonna do is see if I can just clean it, you know, like the original owner would have maintained it. If this firearm had been maintained properly, can I get it back to that point? And then next is, you know, if it's beyond that, then I look at, okay, is this firearm a collectible? Is there something unique about it? There's some firearms you just want to leave alone. They're better left untouched, even if they don't look good and they're crusty. So yeah, you know, it's kind of a hot button topic to people, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's your firearm, and you can do with it as you please.
Well, yeah, it's going to depend on the gun and your personal taste. You know, some guys, and I'm one of them, that I have several dug relics, Civil War guns that were dug by metal detectors and all that. And I don't do anything with those guns. I just display them just like they are, like they came out of the ground. They're rough. They're rough, but they tell a story, and you couldn't restore it if you wanted to. So leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
So going back to long-term storage, what you were talking about, and getting back to that Howard's Restore Finish. Like I said, I wipe that on the stocks, and it really rejuvenates the wood. But I've also found that wiping that onto the metal after I've cleaned up the metal, and it leaves back behind just that little film. And I've got dozens of guns in my garage that I haven't touched in years that don't have a speck of rust on them. That's all they got on them is that Howard's Restore Finish.
That's great. That sounds super.
What do you guys feel about as far as firearm storage? I have read that keeping them in gun safes is really not the best place to keep them, because a lot of these gun safes are basically have drywall in them, and yeah, I've heard that kind of keeping them out in the open air, and it may depend on where you live. Down there in Louisiana, where George is, it may be too humid, and you may be better off leaving them in a gun safe with dehumidifiers and all that.
That's what I do, and I don't have any problem with that.
Every one of my long guns are stored in a silicone impregnated gun sack with that Howard's Restore Finish on all the metal, and inside of a metal gun locker.
Yeah. So you use a locker. You're doing a locker versus a safe, which is kind of different.
Yeah.
Different deal.
So I have a securely locked garage with a moat around it with alligators.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Crow Minion says,
my garage first of all, and then break into all my lockers.
Yeah. Crow Minion says, how about mineral oil? Super cheap and non-polymerizing. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't. When it's like the Renaissance wax. Renaissance wax expensive. A little bit of can of Renaissance wax costs you between $20 and $30, but you get what you pay for.
Well, I can put it this way: the NRA museum uses Renaissance wax.
So does Springfield.
Maintain their firearms. So. Yeah, I don't know.
I do use Ren wax on a lot of my collectible pistols.
Yeah. Yes. It's good stuff. I have a lot of antique pistols in my safe, back here, and if you put them in rugs or put them in pad cases, you can't get many of them in there. You'll fill up a safe pretty quick, but
Yeah.
all waxed and all that, and I just use regular old white cotton socks.
Yeah.
Go to Walmart, buy you a sack full of socks, and put a gun in it. It keeps them from beating against one another, but it makes it easy to stack them.
I swear guns get beat up more in the safe than they do anywhere else because, it never fails. The rifle or pistol or whatever you want to get out is in the back of the safe. Yeah, and every time you move those things around, they get dinged up and banged up. And, it's.
I do swear by them silicone socks though. So the funny thing is you can buy a silicone sock that's like 12 inches long to put a pistol in, or you can buy a silicone sock that's 52 inches long to put a rifle in. The same cost for that 12-inch one. I actually literally did that, Jeremy. I bought like a dozen of those socks and cut them down, put my own little tie string on the end of them, and I made 4 or 5 pistol socks out of one rifle sock. Took me a couple hours, but
that's a good idea.
What else do I got to do, right?
For the money you save, you could learn how to throw a couple stitches and make a few socks.
Well, I was a single man in the Navy. I needed to learn how to sew on my own patches and stuff.
Yeah. Well, fellas, anything else y'all want to throw in?
No, I really enjoyed this, and I appreciate all the good comments from all the folks and everybody coming in. It's fun.
Absolutely. I'm going to be doing these every Friday. We're going to try to bring in at least one new person every week. And so if there's any of you guys out there in the comments, subscribers, you want to come on and talk about a particular rifle or a pistol or whatever, you can reach out to me at joinus@firearmsandfellowship.com. Just holler at me and we'll see if we can make anything happen. We were going to have Mike Baker on from Texas Gun Owners, Texas Gun Collectors.
The TGCA.
Yeah, Texas Gun Collectors Association. He got tied up this evening, but we're going to get him on real soon. Going to be good to talk to him. George, you're going to be on the cover of their magazine this upcoming issue, right?
Upcoming issue, yeah. We that same Indian police gun that we were fortunate enough to win with in Vegas. We also displayed and won with that gun at the recent at the Fall Texas Gun Collectors Association show. Any of you folks that are within reach of Denton, Texas, right there north of Dallas, they have 2 shows a year. Great shows, beautiful guns. I encourage you to visit that show if you get a chance. You really see some good stuff and meet a lot of really good folks.
Well, they got a bunch of shows down there in Texas, man. I think Mike was saying last weekend there was 3 or 4 of them right there, around Houston where he's at. Milsurp says I'm next, so holler at me, buddy. We'll get you on.
Good.
For sure.
Buy books, everybody. Buy books. Nothing in this world beats sitting in your recliner with a gun in one hand and a book in the other hand. When you get up, you'll know something about what you have.
Well, George, that's one of the things, when we first met that we talked about. It's just different when you can hold the firearm and look at it and read about it. You can read about all the details and then look at it. It's just different. Having some reference material on hand is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It beats the pants off of staring at a screen. And so, I implore you guys, if you're really interested in learning about firearms, go out there and get some of these books and start reading.
Yeah. I'm sure Neil has too. I'm sure Jeremy has. I've bought books because of one chapter in a book. It's just because that one chapter covered something I really wanted to know about.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. And I always enjoy visiting with you guys. It's a blast.
So most Friday nights are kind of busy for me, but tonight
we'll
was an
work something
exception.
out.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
I don't know. We may do Wednesday nights or Tuesday nights.
Wednesdays are bad too.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a Friday firearms chat. So y'all look forward to that. And everybody have a wonderful evening. And God bless y'all. And tell those around you that you love them.
Sure do. It's Valentine's Day. Y'all don't forget that.
That's right. Guys, thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next one.
Later. Thanks, everybody.